Building a luxury hotel is a race against a ticking clock. As the physical structure rapidly goes up, the assumption is that human resources operates in the background, strictly drafting budgets and sketching out hiring strategies for when doors finally open. But in the pre-opening phase, the HR function operates differently. It is a high-stakes exercise in executive risk management. The moment the very first employee offer letter is signed, the ownership entity becomes exposed to legal and financial liability. Focusing purely on acquiring a massive headcount while ignoring the legal framework creates severe operational vulnerabilities. The workforce may be hired, but the structure holding them is completely hollow. Look at this risk scale. An early-stage compliance failure easily outweighs standard administrative planning, tipping the scale and triggering immediate, crippling financial fines. These fines are followed by severe project delays and irreversible erosion of the employer brand in the local market. Legal and compliance foundations form the non-negotiable bedrock that physically insulates the ownership entity from these early errors. Here is the framework for the bedrock. It consists of 3 specific pillars installed into the foundation: labor laws, permits, and contracts. These cannot be developed concurrently with hiring. They must be built sequentially to establish structural integrity long before staff arrives. Failing to secure this exact legal foundation early in the timeline renders all subsequent strategic and mass hiring efforts completely null and void. The first foundational pillar requires a rigorous audit of local, regional, and national labor laws. This logic flow illustrates a primary friction point, a uniform global brand standard attempting to pass through highly specific local jurisdictions. Corporate pay scales must adjust to minimum wage laws, while scheduling aligns with regional working hour limits. Standardized employee benefits and termination protocols must also be localized. Relying on the global corporate standard here results in instant regulatory breaches. For example, the legality of conducting criminal or financial background checks varies dramatically by jurisdiction. What is required in one country constitutes an illegal privacy infringement in another. Similarly, mandatory health and safety certifications for food handlers and operational staff differ wildly across borders, requiring entirely new training matrices. An HR leader cannot rely on their past regional experience to navigate this. They must conduct a fresh, jurisdiction-specific legal audit for every single new property. This meticulous localization process translates a theoretical hotel concept into a legally functioning local employer. Achieving perfect localization of these labor laws locks in the first foundational block, ensuring the ownership entity is shielded from immediate jurisdictional liability. The second pillar shifts the focus to HR's direct responsibility for coordinating personnel-related permits and licenses. The first operational requirement is acquiring business operating licenses, legally structuring the corporate entity as employer. Next are health and safety permits, certifying the physical workplace meets all local employee safety standards. Third is acquiring specialized employee permits, focusing on international work visas and specialized professional licenses. These visas are required to import key leadership roles, such as the expatriate general manager and the international executive chefs. Failing to secure these specific documents leaves the entire pre-opening process executing without its executive leadership on site. All of these applications are governed by a single schedule, the Master Pre-Opening Timeline, or MPOT, which dictates every phase of the project. This Gantt chart shows governmental processing operating on inflexible, long lead times, acting as a rigid blockade. Therefore, visa applications must be aggressively front-loaded into the timeline's earliest weeks. Missing these early application windows directly causes cascading delays that will push back the physical opening date of the property. Synchronizing governmental permit realities with the MPOT provides the timeline security required to open on time. It locks the second foundational block firmly into place. The final foundational pillar involves finalizing standard employment contracts and the internal HR policies. A strict sequence rule governs this step. Every document must be completely drafted, legally reviewed, and locked before a single mass hiring event takes place. Recycling generic employment contracts from the brand's previous openings in other jurisdictions introduces massive legal exposure. On this digital contract template, clauses for termination and probationary periods must be isolated, rewritten, and perfectly aligned with local labor codes. Similarly, intellectual property assignments require precise localization to be legally binding. Parallel to the legal contracts is their operational counterpart, the HR Policies Handbook. The scope of this handbook is expansive, covering daily operational details from granular uniform standards up to formal disciplinary and grievance procedures. Operationally, the handbook must be completed, printed, and ready for immediate distribution the moment employees arrive for initial onboarding. Delivering these clear policies prevents early-stage employee friction and establishes the structural hierarchy and operational culture from day one. Legally fortified contracts combined with comprehensive policy handbooks protect the daily operation. This locks the third and final block into the foundation, achieving total structural integrity. When we step back and view this fully completed pre-opening legal foundation, it functions as a single, unified risk management shield. Meticulously executing these mandates transforms administrative tasks into an active defense of the hotel's assets. This work secures the ownership's legal right to open and operate. Localizing labor laws ensures the ownership group avoids immediate regulatory breaches. Synchronizing personnel permits with the master timeline prevents catastrophic schedule delays. Finalizing ironclad contracts and policies guarantees a compliant, strictly structured mass hiring phase. Without this exact foundation in place, a multi-million-dollar opening remains exposed to crippling legal vulnerabilities, regardless of the talent you hire. By securing this bedrock first, the HR leader actively protects the ownership entity, fulfilling their primary function in executive risk management. With the legal framework tested and the foundation hardened, the focus shifts to bringing the actual workforce onto the property. The operational license is secured. The executive team is finally ready to begin the initial employee onboarding process in Lesson 2.5.